Hit that like. We're getting ready to start. Hold on, I got my buttons.
I agree. I'm a dope.
I know. That's me too.
Who wants people coming in from foreign countries?
Not me. No, we can't even fit them.
Even outside, it's packed.
That's right. What's packed? Your
Asshole.
Yeah, I think so. Probably.
He can do things with his tongue you wouldn't believe.
I don't really need to know that, honestly.
Peace through strength on the earth beyond.
Okay, Space Cadet, whatever you say.
TPP2.
All right, well, just make sure you change your diaper after.
Purge the anti-Semitism and pro-terrorism.
Yeah.
What you doing?
What you doing with your turds? Let's see. All right, that says live, so we got to go live. We got to just do it. There we are. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. How are you? Is my mic on? Everything's fine. I see the meter is happening. A little slower on that thing. I don't trust it. It's being a little laggy. I'm guessing my audio software is going to need an update soon, and that's what it's kind of telling me. That's why it's been what's the phrase? A dick lately. And it left me having to restart my show / my computer right before I start multiple times. It's always something. It's just always something. It's that whole mix minus thing where I have to have guests, and it's just a pain and took us. Glad I sound okay. You guys sound okay. No, you sound okay, chat room. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. I'm fresh. I have a fresh track mark on my arm from my little IV that I did, which was very exciting. I had one of those B vitamin drips and stuff, so I should be full of energy. Or at least I could be positive. Yeah. Anyways, I just had that done, and that's fun. You'd rather remote. Also, let's get a hype train together. What do you say? Hype train, Twitch. Come on. Let's see if we can do that. Also, hit that like, subscribe, think about memberships, handing out memberships, all this stuff I never say, and I always forget, and I'm so stupid. Why don't I do it? But it helps us out. Venmo, always wonderful, no matter when you're watching this. And of course, patreon.com/HalSparks. There we go. Now, I got it out of the way. I did it, chat room. You keep asking, and I'm getting better at it. Now today, we just have to see if everybody can psychologically, emotionally, and intellectually sort of keep it in their pants, if you know what I'm saying. Because I have no doubt that, today's such a schadenfreude kind of a day. And also, I believe, is there supposed to be... Oh, yeah, so Trump is supposed to make remarks from Mar-a-Lago. Is that what's happening? Is he live at Mar-a-Lardass? About his... Oh, yep, there he is. Hold on. He just came out.
None of this stuff would have ever happened. None of...
Please tell me this is the same fucking... I guess so.
He's lost. Isn't all...
Okay, I don't care. This is hopefully America. Love Trump more than anything. Oh, here we go. Listen to the man as it makes the show. Come on. Trump's an old orange. Circus peanuts just left out in the sun. Everybody just join around. We're going down to Mar-a-Lago town. It's a song that never ends. Okay.
Talk about this ever-changing economy and what's going on.
Really inevitable government into fiscal.
He's coming out. Shut up! You're gonna miss it. I think they just cut away from
for all. In fact, in the introductory message, Biden rammed home this idea that he's had a commitment to fiscal.
They just cut away. Just fuck off. We're not ready. We'd have to. Sounds good so far. It's a good thing. gather all the press out in the rain, make them stand in the valet port as you come out and give a message because you don't trust letting anyone into Mar-a-Lago for fucking some reason. All right. This is going to be good. So here we go. This is his statement on whatever the hell.
It's a very sad day for, in my opinion, the country.
The company. I think you mean the company. I think we should just from this point on swap out company whenever he says country all the time.
A New York State judge just ruled that he's crooked as you can get.
Well, I don't think so. I mean, I think you could get a lot more crooked than he is. You know what I mean? Guys, I mean, he doesn't even look like a crooked judge. He looks kind of, he looks like an extra in a Terry Gilliam movie.
A lot of people expected something like this, but not for the amount. But this is
Actually, I expected more, so consider yourself lucky, dum-dum.
a very dishonest man. Is a man that's been overturned already on this case 4 times. But a crooked...
Not this time, though. Crucially, not about this part, and not about this money, and not about this ruling. So, good luck.
New York State judge just ruled that I have to pay.
Also, great production value. RSBN, you have a lot to be proud of. I'm just saying, really knocking it out of the park. I think most people would have gone for a statement on an important day like this with a little podium, maybe a microphone attached to it. Maybe you guys even bring your own shit and that asked for a podium from that, or he has the presence of mind to put a podium out there, and then you guys can attach your mics to it, and he can walk up and say something, as opposed to just yelling at you like an old man trying to get you off his lawn. Honestly, what the fuck is this? I'm from the door. I'm over here. You suck. This sucks. I'm not out of no prepared statement. This sucks. Going back, it's raining. If I want to see the beach, I have to walk all the way across the road to get... Mar-a-Lago sucks. This sucks. By the way, people in the chat on this thing, we're gonna have to take a look at it, but they're literally saying boycott New York. Yeah. Is that what you're doing by never having gone there before and never going there and never planning on it? By the way, if you're trying to figure out a way to get me to want to go to New York now, the fact that I won't be seeing any maggots when I go there is a sell point. I want to buy a ticket right now.
Fine of $355 million for having built a perfect company.
That's what it was for. You're right. That's what they can't have that. It's New York. You can't have the perfect company. It makes everybody else look bad. So they fine you for building the perfect money laundering company, I suppose, right? Is that the
great cash, great buildings, great everything?
Yeah, great everything. Great fraud. Great big fraud. Big bada big fraud. Also,
I've been involved in the 2 greatest scams in American history.
Right, well, that's the...
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
Uh-huh.
It affects New York. It's mostly talking about New York. Where
Mostly talking about New York, but also the fact that I guess you're going to have to open up your business in Florida, and they're going to know that you're a criminal, so...
We have a totally corrupt attorney general. She campaigned on the fact that I will get Trump. Everybody's saying it.
Yes, you keep saying that and reminding everyone, asshole, that the voters of New York went, you're going to what? You're going to get Trump? Oh, yes, she's got my vote. Yes, that's all I need to hear. I'm sick of this motherfucker.
They've all seen it. Well, we'll be appealing, but more important than that, this is Russia, this is China, this is the same game. All comes out of the DOJ, it all comes out of Biden. It's a witch hunt against his political opponent, the likes of which our country has never seen before. You see it in third world countries, banana republics, but you don't see it here. So I just want to say this. You build a great company. There was no fraud. The banks all got their money, 100%. They love Trump. They testified that Trump is great customer.
It's great. If you're trying to get rid of some Russian oligarch money, he's your dude.
Our best customers, they testified beautifully. And the
They testified beautifully. It was really a perfect phone call on it, honestly, if you think about it.
judge knows that. He's just a corrupt person. And we knew that from the
Just emotionally corrupt. You know what I mean? Like internally. It's just part of his soul, I guess.
beginning. We knew it right from the beginning because he wouldn't give it to the commercial division. This judge thought Mar-a-Lago is worth $18 million, and
You said it was worth $18 million.
it's worth anywhere from 50 to 100 times that.
Well, shit. Then you know what I would do? I'd fucking, it's worth 50 to 100 times that. I'd go right to a bank and get a $500 million loan on Mar-a-Lago, pay the fine, and say, fuck you. And then take a big vacation with the rest of the money because you know you could sell, you still got $1 billion in equity in the place.
So we realized that. He ruled against me before he even got the case. He ruled against me. He said I was...
Well, I mean, no, he didn't. He can't rule against you before he gets the case. What did he do it emotionally? Was he in the shower?
guilty. He didn't know what I was guilty of.
But then he read more and he was like, oh, that's what he's guilty of. Right. Yeah, everybody was saying he was guilty of this. And it checks out. Hold on. Can we just back the fuck up to how this... Listen to how he's describing this shit. Because this is kind of fucking magic. Listen to this shit. Did it back up? Did it? Oh, wait, hold on. I got to be on the right page.
Trump, they testified that Trump is great customer.
Yeah, what did you have, Tony the Tiger? All right, I'm sorry. Sir, I have one more question. How was Trump as a client? Great! Badgering the witness.
One of our best customers, they testified beautifully. And the judge knows that. He's just a corrupt person. And we knew that from the beginning. We knew it right from the beginning because he wouldn't give it to the commercial division. This judge thought Mar-a-Lago is worth $18 million and it's worth anywhere from 50 to 100 times that amount.
Yeah, if only for the amount of rain and the sound of the airplanes going overhead. I mean, that, I gotta say.
So we realized that. He ruled against me before he even got the case. He ruled against me. He said I was guilty. He didn't know what I was guilty of before he even got the case. And Letitia James, that's another case altogether. She's a horribly corrupt attorney general, and it's all having to do with election interference. There were no victims because the banks made a lot of money. They made
Sorry, there were no what? There were no decments?
the commercial division. This judge thought Mar-a-Lago is worth $18 million and it's worth anywhere from 50 to 100 times that amount. So we realized that. He ruled against me before he even got the case. He ruled against me. He said I was guilty. He didn't know what I was guilty of before he even got the case. And Letitia James, that's another case altogether. She's a horribly corrupt attorney general, and it's all having to do with election interference. There were no victims because the banks...
Oh, there were no victims. It sounded like dictums, which is kind of what he said, but I can't tell with the wind and the rain and stuff. It's, you know what it is? It's that sunny Florida weather. It's hard to hear over.
Made a lot of money. They made $100 million. And by the way,
well, the problem is they have shareholders, and those shareholders should have made $150 to $200 million. And also, ask Deutsche Bank.
Paid approximately $300 million in taxes as the migrants come in and they take over New York. I paid over this period of years over $300 million in taxes, and they want me out. Well, let's see if we can get them out. These are radical left Democrats. They're lunatics.
You mean you should have paid $500 million and
it's election interference. So I just want to thank you.
Also, by the way, Trump considers anybody who works for a vendor that he hasn't paid, who pays their taxes, is him paying taxes. Just so you know.
For being here, will it be successful? I think because frankly,
I gotta say, Mar-a-Lago. The more time I spend there in the valet part, listening to the sirens and the wind and the rain and stuff, it just gets it gets more magical by the moment. Really, be a fabulous destination, wouldn't you say?
we're not successful. New York State is gone. People are moving out of New York State. And because of this, they're going to move out at a much faster rate.
Yeah, that's what they're waiting for, to see how you're treated.
They used a statute. It's a consumer fraud statute.
Because you committed fraud.
It's never been used for a thing like this before.
Well, congratulations. You've always thought you were special, and now you know in what particular category you're special.
They used it on me because I'm running for president. I'm beating Biden by a lot. We're beating not only the Republicans.
He's got 50% of his own party.
We're beating Biden by a lot. The poll came out today. We're up 20 points in Biden.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, you're up 20 points on Biden. Absolutely. Yeah, just keep telling yourself that the only way you could lose this election is if it's rigged.
If I weren't running, none of this stuff would have ever happened.
Well, not the public relations side of it, not the loudness of it. You would have been charged behind the scenes, whatever. Shit, if you hadn't been president, they'd have eventually come after you for this shit, and people would. This would be another Martha Stewart, only not charming story. It's like the Martha Stewart if she was a he and he was an adjudicated rapist and never became friends with Snoop Dogg.
And none of these lawsuits would have ever happened. Nothing would. I would have had a nice life.
Well, that'll teach you.
But I enjoy this life for a different reason. We're going to make America great again. These are corrupt people. These are people that shouldn't be allowed to do the things they do.
Well, I mean, obviously, they shouldn't be allowed to corrupt the things they do, I think is what you mean. But
and they're using this as weaponization against a political opponent.
They're using this as weaponization. Did you mean they're weaponizing the... Never mind. Why am I trying to make...
Who's up a lot in the polls and always will be because I'm competing with a man who can't put two sentences together, who doesn't know what he's doing. And we're heading into a third world war because of this guy. We have to win this election. They're doing everything possible to step in our way, but we're not going to stand for it.
Well, what difference does it make if we're heading into World War III and Biden doesn't know what he's doing? Obviously, it's going to happen. Dude, we're like a year from anybody becoming the next president, even if it's Biden or you or Nikki Haley or anybody else. If World War III is right around the corner, honest to God, I would start boarding up Mar-a-Lago and just, hole up inside and, piss in mason jars and start growing your fingernails.
So thank you very much. We will get back to work.
Do you mean the kind of work you need a license to do, or oh?
It's a ridiculous award. A fine of $355 million for doing a perfect job.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you over the giant jet plane that flies over your fancy pants resort every 9 minits.
For having paid back a loan.
Can you say it a little? Go back, because we didn't hear what you said. We heard the loan part, but we couldn't hear you over the plane that apparently is landing at Mar-a-Lago in the pool right now, or
No defaults, no.
It's up, absolutely. I don't know. Hey, who am I? I'd have brought him inside. I would have taken him. I would have set up a little podium in like the ballroom or something like that. Unless there's a spill or a smell and you don't want people to talk. Is that what it is? That's what it is. Something's bad. Something smells. Something smells inside Mar-a-Lago, and if you bring the press in, they'll be able to smell it too. It's like a burst pipe, or hey, you thought you were going to sell your diapers to maggots to wear as hats, so you were collecting them in a giant pile, and you didn't want anybody to come in there because they could smell them. Because for whatever reason, wherever you are in Mar-a-Lago, you're always downwind from them. Is that what it is? Because it seems like it would be very simple to set up the podium that you have that's there in your little room where you have some of the weddings and shit like that. Just bring that in and set up some mics and have a press conference at Mar-a-Lago. Have the press come in. Wouldn't that? Or is this better?
Problems. The banks were
I take it back. You're right. That's better. It's my bad. Now that I listen to it, now that I hear it, it's obviously
of $355 million for doing a perfect job, for having paid back
Yeah.
the loan with
What?
no defaults,
What?
with no problem.
What?
The
What?
banks were totally, at the
What?
trial, they testified.
I know that. I know
We had
what
an
intent.
expert
What?
witness
You
from the
can't.
Stern School at
Hello?
NYU that made a statement.
If it
was
did,
very
what?
honored by his statement. He's one of the
You-
most respected people anywhere in the country for doing
What people would that be? I couldn't hear you over the jet that was apparently 18 feet above the ceiling.
this kind of thing. Expert whiskey. He said this is one.
Expert whiskey.
And I was very honored by his statement. He's one of the most respected people anywhere in the country for doing this kind of thing. Expert whiskey. He said
Expert whiskey. I'm pretty sure it's hard. I get mad. Now, see what's going to happen, Can't Stop Lying? I'm going to be mad because he said expert whiskey, and it sounds like shit, so we won't even be able to use it as a drop because he's describing his expert witness as expert whiskey.
made a statement. And I was very honored by his statement. He's one of the most respected people anywhere in the country for doing this kind of thing. Expert whiskey.
Yeah, expert whiskey. Maybe that's his name. Hey, how y'all doing? I'm Expert Whiskey. Good to see you. We'll leave the light on for you so you can stumble home drunk in the middle of the night.
He said this is one of the greatest financial statements I have ever witnessed before.
You mean the paid expert whiskey that you had come in? You mean that expert whiskey? Okay.
And he talked about even the details.
He did? Really? What details were those? That it was just fucking amazing? Yeah. Did he just like flip through it and go, this is fucking I love this.
So my numbers actually were extremely conservative. They saw this, so what the judge did is he brought down certain values like
Fuck me. All right. You're supposed to come out, make an angry statement, and then go back inside. You can't start relitigating the shit, dummy. You just lost. There's no appeal. You're fucked. Get the fuck out of here. Your business is being shut down. You can't do any business in the state for 3 years.
Mar-a-Lago made it ridiculous, but the expert, after having all of this, testifies one of the best financial statements he's ever seen.
Yeah, you mean the expert whiskey that you hired to come in and be your expert whiskey? By the way, expert whiskey sounds like a military code. Expert whiskey. This is a Foxtrot moonshine. We're double down on the 2-4.
And I was honored by that.
Were you? You were honored to pay him $400,000 to lie.
But I also knew we have a corrupt judge. He's not a respected man. And again, I said before, he's been overturned on this case by the appellate division 4 times already.
Well, then I don't know what you're bitching about. Obviously, this is gonna be thrown out. Yeah, he can appeal. It's just not gonna work. Chat room is what I was saying.
Record. Nobody's ever been overturned on one case 4 times.
No, there were a myriad of charges, and they barred it down to like a few. Obviously, the part where it was your ass and your money and your business license, they didn't have a problem with any of that shit. The only part your daughter was successful in removing herself at distancing herself from you.
And I think very importantly, and I think ultimately the most important, we've employed tens of thousands of people in New York.
Yeah, but you haven't paid them, so.
And we pay taxes like few other people have ever paid in New York.
You mean barely?
And they don't care about that. It's a state that's going bust. It's a state that's going bust because everybody's leaving.
I'm just saying the stock market is kicking right now, and it is in New York. They are there. Now, granted, you can do a lot of all over the country, but there's a lot of fucking money in that city, and there's a lot of fucking money in that state. and they don't need your debt, asshole.
And it's all headed up by Biden, who's destroying our country.
Is he the one making it rain and causing planes to circle Mar-a-Lago? Is that what you're pissed about? Did it used to be sunny and planeless?
So this is Russia, this is China, this is what you've been reading about all your lives, and it's happening right here.
Yeah, right now. This is the moment. We're gonna seize that moment. I'm gonna give my coaching. I'm gonna go into my coaching thing. Everything you believe, your whole life is here.
In our country. Thank you very much. We will stop it. We will make America great again. You have my word. Thank you very much.
Asshole, you lied on the stand. One of the reasons why you got the fine that you did was because you found that you were not believable on the stand. So raising your right hand, believe me, you know what? I take it back. Keep doing that because you need the practice. You're gonna have to get used to that. Work that muscle. You know what I mean? You wanna get that so it pops right up. So you're gonna need it. Yeah.
President Trump sell any of the assets to pay for his verdict? Are you trying to sell anything?
Slam the door on him. Dang. Or just leave it. You gotta barely shut the door. I'm not gonna shut it all the way. You can't come in. It's partially open, but you're not allowed to use it. How does that feel? Fuck you. People I desperately need to like me. Fuck you. What? It's just like the most impotent asshole move. It reminds me of that Mitch Hedberg bit about like having a fight in a tent and then you can't walk out and slam the flap, you know? What am I supposed to do? Walk out and zip it up real quick? He's just like, and another thing, fuck you. I'll just leave it cracked. I'm just going to leave it cracked. Oh, he's got plenty of money. He's just he's in there writing a check right now that says "fuck you" in the memo line. He's so, in case you don't know, $354.6 million fine. Can't do business in New York for 3 years, which I think means that like they can't start any new projects and he doesn't have to wind his shit down. But if he engages in any of this other shit, I suppose in the next 3 years he's going to have to shut his businesses and whatever. He can't start any new projects. So if he starts a new LLC or any of that, he's got to do it somewhere else. And he can't do it under the umbrella of the Trump organization there. So he's going to have to open up a separate entity for the Trump organization in Florida and then, or file it someplace. And then probably the Caymans or Ireland, the irony. But yeah, that's the end of it.
Okay, we thought we'd pause just for a few moments and talk to our friends.
Jesus Christ. Back off, man. Fuck. Is this what Marjorie Taylor Greene feels like? She must, no wonder she yells all the fucking time. Jesus. What are you doing? I gotta get in close or they will notice I'm not wearing pants. You asshole. Get out of here. I don't need to watch him either. So hi chat room. Love you guys. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up. It's Hal Sparks Megaworldwide. Thanks for being here. And shall we see how Fox is reacting to this? Because obviously they're having a rough one. They're having a rough go of it. There's a guy. This is Ari Fleischer and Fox News Sunday anchor Shannon Bream. Anchor Shannon Bream react to New York judge ruling from Trump. Okay.
We do have this decision. We're waiting for the content of it. It's 92 pages long.
That's a lot.
It's no surprise that Judge Arthur Engoron has found the former President Donald Trump liable in this case.
Oh, so you have read the case.
This is a civil case. So this is about money, not about criminality. Just to rewind.
It's about civil criminality. It's about him ripping off the people of New York and everybody else and banks and other folks and basically stealing money from anybody who had stock in these banks except for, of course, Deutsche Bank, who, didn't care. All they needed was to be able to check certain boxes so they could shuffle some Russian money his way. But whatever.
A little bit here because there are a lot of different cases to keep track on. But in this case,
track on, sure. Track of. We can use of if you want, but you can say track on.
Letitia James said when she was running for Attorney General that she was going to get Trump, and we're going to
promises made, promises kept, I guess.
Play some of what she said in a moment here. But the decision is in. It's 92 pages long. James asked for 370.
Is it a giant flip book of just a hand going? It's just if you hold it backwards, you go like that. It's just Judge Engoron going.
$1 million in damages. She also wants him to be prevented from doing business in New York State. So as we wait to download all of this and get a look at the number, and as soon as we get it, we'll tell you exactly what it is. Obviously, this is something that the former president is watching extremely closely.
Now he is.
He has layers of judicial dates, appointments, decisions coming down, all in the middle of the South Carolina primary, which is coming.
Yeah, but I'll also just so you know, just if he didn't want that to happen, he could have not crimed a bunch for a long time leading up to it. So
coming up on February the 24th and Super Tuesday. So all of this interwoven for former President Trump. I want to bring in
teensy little hands. That's my head and my hands. I mean, that's obviously perspective tricks that you can do, but like, is that not anybody? It seems that little. Right.
Ari Fleischer, former White House press secretary and Fox News contributor, and Shannon Bream, Fox News Sunday anchor and our chief legal correspondent. Shannon, let me start with you. So no surprise, obviously, that he was found liable because the judge found him liable before this case began, correct?
He wasn't found liable. He'd already been found liable. This is about the damages. No, not correct. You are absolutely misreading this. This was about, he was always liable. It wasn't just found liable. He had previously been found liable. This whole thing was about how much he would owe, not whether or not he would fucking hell.
Correct. And we are now
No, not correct.
looking at this. Of course, I jetted to the bottom to see what we can find in the conclusion. And there are several big numbers in there. The judge talks about in this finding Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, Alan Weisselberg, and others involved in this, as you said, had already decided that they had been fraudulent in some way. One of the first things he orders is that several of them together, including Donald Trump and his trust and Trump Organization, will be have to pay $168 million and change. The next paragraph goes on to say that there's another ruling for $126 million and change. Another one for $60 million. Now, we'll have to look and see if any of those are overlapping or if we add these up. But these are...
I think you add them up. I'm going to go with add them up.
Some of the numbers coming out. Goes on to say that Eric Trump has to pay $4 million in one...
Ouch. Yeah, that's a lot of concrete.
Case. Donald Trump Jr., $4 million in one of these cases, and Alan Weisselberg, $1 million. So there's a lot there. We're going to parse through these numbers, but they are big. Incredible. We knew there was a big ask. It looks like they may be in the neighborhood of close to $300 million or more.
Yeah, Shannon, we are seeing this. I believe this is a Reuters report. We're all trying to sort of balance up these numbers.
Why have our own? We have our own legal expert who just got the same paperwork that Reuters has, but she's not good at math. So let's just go ask Reuters.
Here, but according...
Like, why do you have... What's Ari Fleischer doing there? Ari, get out a fucking calculator, asshat. Help her. Help the two blondes in the blue coats figure this shit out.
To some of the reporting out there, the number is $354.9 million. And as you say, the damages are spread across a number of the Trump family members who are deeply involved in the business. Don Jr., Eric Trump, as you say, $4 million. Now, perhaps equally importantly, according to the early reporting that we're seeing here, the judge has banned Donald Trump and others from serving as an officer or director of any New York corporation or other legal entity in New York for 3 years, is the period here on this. Now, that wouldn't have a whole lot of impact on President Trump because he is running for president and hopes to be president during that time.
Yeah, it will.
But Eric Trump and Don Jr. and Eric, in a large way, are very instrumental in the business here, and it would.
Yeah, ruining it. Here's the interesting part. If they can't run it either, then that means that Trump and these assholes have to hire somebody to run their company for them. And that person either has to be in on the take and willing to, keep this bullshit Titanic company afloat by engaging in the graft and possibly going to jail themselves later, like Alan Weisselberg, or somebody who will come in there and go, Jesus fucking Christ, these guys are up to their ass in criminality. And either I got to clean all this up, goddammit, or I'm out.
Prevent them from serving as an officer or director of any New York corporation or other legal entity in New York for 2 years. So $355 million here in the judgment from Arthur Engeron against the former President Donald Trump.
And Eric and Don Jr.
Ari, what's your reaction?
And Alan Weisselberg.
To all this?
Martha, I just have such a hard time seeing any of the court cases, including this one, as anything other than a continuation of the resistance that began when Donald Trump was elected president, and instantly protesters took to the streets of Fifth Avenue against Donald Trump.
The streets of Fifth Avenue? You mean the city he comes from, the city that he stole from, in theory? So they've known about it. They tried to warn us, is what you're saying?
To me, when you look at all these cases, the one thing they keep having in common is they're being brought against the former president in the bluest of blue counties across the United States of America.
You mean where he used to actually live and run his businesses from? I guess the biggest question, Ari, is how come Donald Trump didn't move his whole organization to Texas a long fucking time ago? If he's Mr. Super MAGA, if he loves the shit out of some freedom and some guns, baby, why didn't the sons go, Dad, fuck New York and this glitzy bullshit fashion week fake lifestyle we live with our fucking gold-painted furniture and our apartments that other rich people have apartments twice the size of ours. Our apartments is the third the size of Oprah's, so we have to fucking lie. So let's fuck off. Let's just go and we'll buy a giant ranch and live out in the middle of some Texas field. We'll build a giant, rich, glitzy fucking place outside of Dallas or Houston, one of these big oil, and we'll get in with those people and fucking Republicans and all this shit. But how come they never did that? They just stayed in New York, sucking up to the people they allegedly fucking hate until he needed to run for office. Oh, because he's full of shit. I see. Thank you, Ari. It helped me work. You really helped me work my way through that.
Because if they were brought in a purple county, let alone a red county, they probably would have no chance of success.
Hey, fuckwad. If this asshole had had his businesses in a purple county or red county, they'd have kicked his ass to the curb a long fucking time ago, because they would have gone, who the fuck is this asshole palling around with Jeffrey Epstein all the fucking time? Why is that asshole's plane always at our goddamn airport? So are you saying red counties really would have loved the Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein period?
Whether it was a jury or a judge rendering a verdict. And so I just think this is a continuation of the nastiness that law has turned into to serve.
Hey, it's New York, man. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. And he can't make it there, so he can't make it anywhere.
The political ends, as Letitia James, as you pointed out, the Attorney General of New York, campaigned on getting Donald Trump. And I remember when she said that,
Yeah, but why was she able to campaign on getting him? Why would she have jurisdiction over anything about him? Oh, he set up shop in New York because that's where his dad's business was, and he's a second-generation rich kid, and he went about cheating his way to the middle of the billionaire class in New York while hanging around with sketchy fuckers and getting money from the gnarliest people on the fucking planet.
New Yorker. I remember when she was a candidate and she vowed to do that. And it struck me as an absolute miscarriage of justice then when she made the promise. And now that she's delivered on it, it's an even bigger miscarriage.
It is a miscarriage. It's so miscarriage. It's such a miscarriage of justice that I feel like we should lock Lady Justice up for attempting passive abortion.
This also, the judge says that the Trump organization must install an independent director of compliance.
Ooh. And there it is. That literally, fine, he'll feel like he can talk it down at some point or whatever. His son's not being able to run the place, probably a better thing if he can find anybody that'll run it that won't come in there and go, what the fuck is this? The irony is that they probably would make a shit ton more money and the company would actually be healthier if he let somebody else fucking run it. The irony. But the compliance officer that's going to be like standing around fucking bespeckled, with a clipboard going, excuse me? No.
And says its independent monitor shall continue in her role, it says, for at least 3 years. Shannon, of all the cases.
And it's a she. Whew. How's that feel to have a she grabbing you by the fupa there, dummy?
That have come against the former president. This one, I would say, and the hush money Stormy Daniels case, sort of was problematic in terms of the interpretation of a lot of people who study the law, as you do. Now, in this case, none of the banks came forward. None of these real estate investment companies came forward and said that the Trump organization failed to repay them. They claimed that the Mar-a-Lago estate, for example, was, I believe, worth $18 million, which is preposterous for anybody who's looked for, a cottage in Palm Beach. You couldn't get one of those.
Yeah, but you can't convert it. Yeah, the only way you get the tax break on it is because you have to use it not as a home. Nobody can live there. That's the weird part about him living there. Remember, this is not his house. He can't live there. He signed a contract to keep it a club. Once you convert it back to a house, the taxes on it go through the fucking roof. And if you sell it on that, you're going to pay a shit ton of back taxes on it. That's why you can't move it.
In that neighborhood. So, it's really shocking how political this appears to be.
Yeah, it's the appearance. That's the thing. Not the legal wording of the actual 98-page ruling. That, just how it appears. Like Ari said, it's hard not to look at it from TV clips that you've seen a long time ago and not assume. In
going after him, let's play those Letitia James comments when she...
Right, same shit. Okay. Let's not. Boring. There's a lot of copium going on over there. Let's see. And I think I have... Well, all right, this will be another relation to it. Good Lord. I have the weirdest... Today is a weird day of clips because everybody wants to talk about, like, Fonnie Willis. So, by the way, like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Hi, how you doing? Let's see. Most of the people are kind of talking about how Trump himself is rich. It's not that big a deal, and he was doing the same thing everybody else does, and they just picked on him because of politics. And if he wasn't running, they'd let him go. Like they did Jared Kushner's dad or Bernie Madoff or Martha Stewart. You know what I mean? Nobody ever gets called to the carpet for this kind of shit. Right, here we go.
So oversight continues on. There's a lot of other things like the
Meanwhile, this is Newsmax has on Dershowitz, and I think an AI person as the host.
Transcript of Tony Bobolinsky that also dropped today. What do you make of this one informant indictment here in the FD 1023? I believe there are other FD 1023s in play.
No, they're not.
As well, sir.
No, you don't. You don't. No. Hang out. Wait, stop. Back the fuck up. You don't get to after your horseshit argument falls apart, you don't get to fabricate ghost evidence elsewhere. Shut the fuck up. No. No, you don't. There's no fucking way she believes there's other FD 1023s. Stop it. No. Just because this one went up in fucking flames, all you get to do is either warm yourself and wait for the ashes or shut the fuck up.
That's why we have to maintain the presumption of innocence. We don't know the actual facts until all the evidence is in.
Right. Hold on one second. I got to turn this up a little bit, I think. It's a little quiet.
Here you have one piece of evidence for possibly.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Great audio, Newsmax.
The evidence is in. Here you have one piece of evidence for possibly, but other pieces of evidence are remaining strong.
You can't just say we have presumption of innocence while there are until all the evidence is in, just as the biggest piece of evidence went up in fucking flames. There is no way a lawyer that isn't arguing on behalf of Trump/Epstein and that ilk would come out and go, yes, the biggest accusation and the single biggest source literally was arrested for not just lying to the FBI, but lying to the FBI while they were catching him in an old lie. He came up with a brand fucking new lie. You can't say presumption of innocence till all the evidence is in when you're in a story discussing the destruction of a primary piece of evidence that isn't evidence, never was.
Ever get to a situation where we have guilt by accusation, where if a person's accused...
Gee, you seem a little defensive there, Mr. Yes, you got a massage at Jeffrey Epstein's house on multiple occasions. Because who doesn't?
And there's some evidence of guilt, we presume guilt. There may be guilt in this case. There may be guilt of one person, but not another person. But we have to maintain our presumption of innocence and make sure that we don't convict anybody in the court of public opinion based simply on allegations.
He does. He seems a little defensive in that argument.
Unless they're tested by the adversarial process. So, yeah, continue with the investigation. Let's see what the evidence turns out to be after it's all in, it's all vetted, it's all subject to cross-examination, and then we can make a valid determination.
Okay. Duh. That just, don't give me fucking, like, the opening monologue of fucking Law and Order, asshole. The story is, this thing that Comer and Jim Jordan and everybody on Newsmax and fucking Danny Ballsack and Flashpoint and fucking Bongholio, all of them were using this $5 million bribe to Biden and $5 million bribe to Hunter, and so they get choked and fired and do all this kind of stuff. They were using this particular piece of evidence as the biggest brick on their side of Lady Justice's scales, and it turned out to be made of helium and caught fire and burned up. It was methane, I think, is actually was the chemical compound. Here's I have the audio tape of the evidence that you're discussing. These are direct recordings of the content of the argument. You're welcome.
Called due process, and Hunter Biden's also coming in to testify, so it remains to be seen what they may or may not learn in just a few weeks.
You know what they're going to learn? That you can't question somebody on using a piece of evidence that doesn't exist, that your witness that you were going to use right before you were going to ask him about it, your dude goes to jail, not for lying about that, because he could have just fucked off. That's the weird part. Okay, we talked about this piece of evidence. In case you don't know, we discussed this morning, but the guy who was indicted, Alexander Smirnov, who is the FBI witness behind the FD 1023, the big much ballyhooed, oh my God, there are recordings, and there's a $5 million bribe to both, Hunter and his dad, and all that shit, right? All that, like that guy, the guy behind all of that was arrested, not because, and this is the fucking beautiful part, not because he lied about the $5 million bribe and lied about the whole story, because they were going to ask him about it. He was arrested because he came in, well, it was all put to bed. Then Republicans brought this FD 1023 out and said, why is no one looking into this? And the FBI went, yeah, that's a good point. We probably should we'll look into this. And they did, on the direction of Republicans. And so they contacted this dude who thought he was in the fucking clear, took his check for being a confidential informant, and fucked off. And all of a sudden, his phone's ringing again. We need to ask you about this, because the Republicans who are going after Hunter Biden just released this, and now we have questions, they have questions, so we want to talk to you again. And this motherfucker's like, fuck. All right, I'll just tell the same story, and Comer and those guys will protect me. And he goes in for an interview, and he tells the same lie, hoping that there's no evidence enough to undercut it, except what tripped him up ultimately? Gregorian monks. Yeah. And their fucking calendar. The fact that 2017 happened after 2015. I mean, how do you fight back against that? So anyways, in the middle of that meeting, where he doesn't realize they're setting him up to basically, just by saying the same story, lie through omission and get around. In the middle of that, he decides to add extra lies on top of it. And that's what gets him busted. They literally make the decision that this motherfucker has to get arrested because he's going to keep doing this. And he took our money, and he lied under oath, and he lied to his handler, and he participated in an ongoing criminal scheme, and he's going to go to jail for at least a decade. But he never would have seen the inside of a fucking jail. He never would have been arrested if they'd have just left him the fuck alone. If Grassley and Comer and Jim Jordan had talked about the FD 1023, but never released it. If they hadn't released that fucking thing and said, we need to keep looking into this, dude was in the fucking clear. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I love it. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. It's Hal Sparks, Mega Worldwide. Let's continue on with this blather.
Let's pivot to one of the other stories. You were good enough to join us live while it was breaking yesterday, the Fani Willis hearing in Georgia. She later took the stand. We were discussing and dissecting Nathan Wade. Here is a bit of her comments yesterday. Let's play this montage for the viewers.
Oh, a montage.
Fani Willis' side decided not to put her back on the stand today. This is our reporting, because they feel they already got everything they needed. They feel that they met the bar. It was enough.
Okay, that's not this is not a montage of Fani Willis. This is fucking Newsmax playing CNN clips for either dunking purposes or to glom on to the conversation, borrow their reporting while shitting on the mainstream media. Eat shit. I'm not sorry. I don't like stolen valor in news either. Just saying. Just kind of doofy. Oh, and by the way, CSL just put in, if I may, this graphic right here. This one right here, which I love. I'm not being defensive. You're the one being defensive. I know that. Why don't you think I know that? Of course I know that. I know that. Of course I know that. I know that. I know that. What are you talking about? Like that. This is who Tucker Carlson has become. Just saying. This has been bugging me for a little bit. But Tucker Carlson has become Nathan. What's his last name? Of course I know that. I know that. Well, Nathan Thurm. Thank you. I know that. Of course I know that. I know that. It's obviously everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. I'm saying that, and everybody knows it. Obviously, Obviously, I wouldn't be saying that if I didn't think it. I'm just asking questions. Of course I know that. I know that it's a question. I know a statement ends in a period or an exclamation point, and a question mark has a question on the end of it. Why would you think I would know that? Of course I know that, and everybody knows that. It's obvious. Obviously, everybody knows that. It's weird to me that he has literally become, that whole obviously and everyone knows it line that he keeps getting stuck with is that. And also, by the way, there's this the other person that's kind of had it has become this dude. This is Schellenberger. Michael Schellenberger is like it's like Matt Taibbi's handler. It's like his wingman who, like, if Taibbi is the guy who talks up the chicks, Schellenberger's the guy who roofies their drinks. You know what I mean? That's the team. Yeah. So, this is, Michael, this is, and he participates, of course, in just like, Taibbi is the CIA of the gaps. It's anybody who wants to go from zero to Alex Jones in 10 seconds. You just spackle everything shut with the CIA. The CIA did it. By the way, during the time the CIA was doing a bunch of shit in the world, you'll notice from these motherfuckers, the KGB wasn't doing shit. The CCP wasn't doing anything. There was no one else has an intelligence organization. It's just the CIA out there on their own. So the CIA and two MI6 agents fucking up the world for no reason other than they just don't like it. And everybody that they come in contact with is an innocent, Boy Scout, more than likely a communist Boy Scout, but nevertheless, always just minding their own business. And here comes the CIA. Definitely not a KGB front. Definitely not a Russian front at all during the fucking Cold War. Always just the CIA walking around like a bunch of fucking schoolyard bullies, tripping people. Absolutely nothing to do with the fact that the people that they're dealing with were largely Soviet fronts. Now, I'm sure. Meanwhile, this fuckwad and Taibbi are all like, basically their gig right now is on behalf of a small semi-QAnon chunk of the Fox News crowd. Their gig is to sign up for a tour of the CIA headquarters and spit on the stars that don't have names under them all the time. This is not me defending everything the CIA has done, because I think it matters who's in the White House and the directives that they give. And that's why I vote for who I vote for, and why I voted against the people that I voted against. It matters a lot. Obviously, everybody knows it. But this is Michael Schellenberger. The CIA is currently hiding this report, which is great, because the nice thing about the CIA hiding a report is that you'll never see it. If you see it, it's obviously not the one they're hiding. And if you don't see it, it's not because it doesn't exist. It's because they're obviously hiding it from you. And it's got 17 to 20 pages, and it's in a vault. This is all we know.
Thankfully, Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger.
Oh, this motherfucker again. I didn't even realize this was a fucking water. This is his hammer lately. This is all he drags. It's all he's on about, is the fucking CIA bombshell. Well, let's hear it. The CIA bombshell. I'm ready. Give me the bombshell. CIA. I mean, that's a big promise, right? I think we're all in for. Let's hear it, right? Yeah.
Have made great progress, and Mike joins us now.
CIA reportedly knew Putin favored Clinton. Okay.
Mike, tell us what this new cooking the books situation really is all about.
Yeah, tell us what it's really all about. And don't beat around the bush with censorship industrial complex or any of your new quasi hashtag mumbo jumbo suck up to Elon Musk bullshit. Facts, facts, facts. Let's do it. You're wearing a beige shirt. You've got to be full of facts.
Sure, Jesse, it's good to be with you. Well, I think some people wonder if this is old news or maybe if this has been reported. I want to assure you that it has not been reported into.
Oh dear, this is freshly made up. This is these books are being cooked right now. This is a cookbook recipe. It's a cookbook. It's a cookbook. All right.
Till now, I can also assure you that there are current members of the House Intelligence Committee that are unaware of a 50-page report that the CIA is currently hiding at its headquarters. There may be other copies elsewhere, but there is a top secret copy at the CIA, proven without a doubt, according to our sources, which are multiple credible sources.
Multiple credible sources, none of which can be confirmed through the Intel Committee, but I'm sure
that Russia, in fact, favored Hillary Clinton, not Donald Trump, in 2016, that they used the Steele memo, the infamous political document commissioned by the Hillary Clinton campaign, to cook the intelligence, as they said, for the early January 2017 intelligence community assessment claiming that the Russians favored Trump falsely, that relied on the Steele memo. That 50-page report continues to exist. It likely...
You do realize, just for the record, no. Bullshit. Again, this is, this must be an amazing way of reporting. Honestly. Just fucking, this is like saying we have, the CIA has the blueprints for the studio they built to fake the moon landing. It's in their vaults and we know it exists, and some of the people we've talked to, we got a lot of people telling us that it exists. Great sources, very reputable sources, none of which will come forward and none of which can prove it, and we can't prove it, but take our word for it. And if you see anything to the contrary that's actually materially, factually true, then that's bullshit meant to dissuade you. But this magic paper that's in a magic vault in Cloud Cuckoo Land is clearly real. And you know how it's real? Because you can't see it. That I gotta say, as cons go, it's pretty fucking miraculous. This is pretty rock solid. Right? Because you never have to produce it. As a matter of fact, your entire function is based on it will never be produced. If something is produced, you can go, this is a doctored version or a fake version if it doesn't tell the story that you're trying to tell. If it does tell the story, then they're not hiding anything. And it was, like 7 different draft papers of like, what if they did this? What if they did this? What if this happened? What if this was that? What if the Russians were trying to help Clinton? What would it look like? Draft me up a version of that. Like those kind of things where they do these exercises within the CIA or the DOD or the Pentagon all the time. So there's a report for fucking everything. There is a report somewhere in the DOD where Guam and Papua New Guinea are taken over by Islamists and fire our nukes at us in the beginning of a possible World War III scenario, because some asshole at a desk was tasked with the idea of writing what we do if that happens. Give me 3 responses on what happens to that. Start typing, motherfucker. There's always those. That said, this is just fucking magic. Imagine being able to go on the news and go, there is a report that I've heard about, and none of the people that I've heard it from will come forward and say that they told me, that exists in a vault you could never see, and it proves the exact opposite of what every other material reality says.
Exists with the other intelligence information, including potentially raw intelligence documents showing that the evidence was
including potentially raw and potentially it includes things, potentially includes these things, or it includes potentially these things. Talk to me, motherfucker. Talk to me.
Very strongly on the side, the best evidence was on the side that the Russians favored Clinton for the continuity and stability, that they were concerned about Trump for being erratic and being an unknown quantity, and that the quality of the evidence that contradicted that was much lower, and that Brennan's people manipulated the sourcing. So
this is all in that report. Say potentially again, motherfucker. Say potentially. This is potentially in this potential thing that potentially, you fucking potentially,
so to speak, the quality.
so to speak.
Ranking given to the sources to come up with really the opposite outcome of what the truth was.
So the election has just happened. Hillary has lost.
Yeah.
It was a surprise. They'd already kind of had this CIA, FBI deal working, and then they needed some major assessment that was authoritative. And you're saying Brennan at the CIA just started going like this and moving everything around?
Yeah. This 50-page report, they were just moving shit around. I mean, potentially. Oh, fucking hell.
To create this impression that they interfered on behalf of Trump?
Yeah, it's all smokescreen. Yeah. They gave him his loans when they had him, backed him up. The Russian mob operating out of his building, the fucking Alpha Bank server pings, all that kind of stuff. It was all an elaborate ploy to make it look like they were hiding that he was in bed with them, just so that people would think he wasn't in bed with them, and that while they were truly actually supportive of Clinton because of stability. Because that's what Russia wanted. Stability.
Yeah, that's right. There's actually two separate intelligence scandals here for people to keep in mind.
In one fantastic report.
The first one happened
that you can never see.
Earlier in 2016, where our sources, multiple sources tell us that Brennan oversaw manipulation of our foreign allies to basically entrap Trump associates.
Oh, dear. Well, obviously none of them fell for it because they're fine Americans who don't. You can't honeypot somebody in a good relationship, and you can't make a patriot turn on his fucking country. They told these fucking agents to give me freedom or give me death, motherfucker. I'm not siding with how much? Shit, yeah, okay. No, you pay for dinner, I'm in.
To create the pretext for the FBI investigation of Trump supposed alleged collusion with Russia, which we now know is debunked. The second thing,
no, it isn't,
is almost a year later, Brennan orchestrates a phony intelligence assessment that comes to the opposite conclusion of what their own raw intelligence, their best intelligence, was showing. These are two massive intelligence scandals. What we're witnessing is the political corruption of both intelligence.
Based on fucking what? Leftover Trumpies in the intelligence community who call you on the fucking regular? What you've been talking to Seymour Hersh's fucking handler that's been in the fucking CIA and that area since fucking Vietnam?
Gathering and intelligence analysis by John Brennan, and these documents, we have been told by multiple people, still exist. They're at the CIA. They need to be released. They're probably part of this larger binder, which
probably part of this larger binder. Probably
may have the other documents.
Probably may have
support both the evidence of both of these scandals.
Probably may have evidence of both of these scandals, which aren't scandals until there's evidence. But fuck that. Probably may have.
We hold Brennan accountable.
How do we hold Brennan accountable for probably may have, potentially, possibly? That's a tough one. It's hard to prove potentially, possibly, may have, maybe, possibly, potentially, probably in a fucking court of law. There's no legal standard for potentially, probably, maybe, possibly, may have, possibly, maybe.
Congress has to take action. I mean, as I said, I now know for a fact that there are members of the House Intelligence Committee whose job it is, whose constitutional requirement it is to oversee the CIA, to demand that the CIA be a non-political.
Yes, these people, you're going to tell me that these people know about this because they know it exists and they won't act on it, which would be a scandal. Obviously a scandal. You're not going to tell me that they don't know about this thing, which you can't prove exists at all. And so their lack of knowledge might be based on a genuine gap in reality, but you can always spackle that fucking gap shut with probably, maybe, potentially, maybe, may have.
Institution, they need to hold them to account. There need to be hearings on this. They need to get to the bottom of that. We need that 50-page report. And
what 50-page report? What's the title of it? What's it called?
And the binder and the rest of the document.
What binder are you talking about? The binder that Trump stole? The binder that he left with? Why wouldn't he release it? If he has the binder that potentially maybe probably has mayhaps evidence of the collusion against him, where the fuck is it?
Well, I agree. I'm not relying on Congress to do much of anything these days.
Well, they are run by Republicans, but I mean, potentially, probably, maybe they could possibly, maybe, probably, maybe, perhaps.
Days. I do like the CIA interfering in other people's elections, just not ours. That's a line we can never cross. Schellenberger, thanks so much, and thanks.
For what? Thanks a lot. For what? For potentially, probably, maybe, may have, potentially, probably, maybe? You fucking moron. How about you potentially get fucked? Potentially, probably, maybe, may have, perhaps, possibly.
To you, Matt Taibbi, as well.
Who maybe or potentially or probably maybe may have not actually been human this whole time.
Tell him thank you.
Potentially, if you run into him. If you probably you're going to see him, but potentially if you do, tell him maybe thank you. Or maybe you. Perhaps. Ugh. These fucking dipshits. I gotta say, just peaking the fucking lame meter on this. You're watching House Sparks Megaworldwide. That shows taste and breeding on your part. Hit that like. Let people know we're here. If you're on Twitch, or you're on YouTube, or you're on Facebook, follow, subscribe, whatever way you can to help out the show really helps. And patreon.com/HalSparks is what keeps us afloat. It's the one constant in an ever-changing internet universe. Wish us luck. And then, of course, you can Venmo me a cup of coffee if you want. You could just go, hey, go get a coffee. You seem drowsy. You seem like you're talking slower than usual. Couldn't possibly be that you're exhausted by the ridiculousness that you deal with every day. So obviously you need a nap or some caffeine. So, and we know you're not going to spend the money on my pillow. So obviously, now, you know what? Speaking of something that'll put us all to sleep, the comedy, ladies and gentlemen, hi chat room, love you guys. The comedy of Greg Gutfeld, and I say comedy because there's this illusion that he's supposedly doing comedy here. Like him and Jimmy Dore both have this, keep asserting the idea that they're doing comedy, where we have seen no evidence. As Schellenberger would say, this is probably comedy. It's potentially comedy. The show is potentially comedy every day, probably. Maybe there'll be comedy. We'll find out. And this is on his show. The show where Greg Gutfeld, a grown man, has a logo based on Garfield, and it's behind him. It's from the Garfield movie, even, not even the actual comic strip back in the day. So somebody made it for him, his mom or somebody, and they put it on the set, which is adorable, and also theft. So anyways, this is Gutfeld. This report, oh, fuck, may confirm Trump's 2016 campaign was spot on. You think it's the same one you think they're going to play a Taibbi clip, or maybe he's there?
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Happy Thursday, everybody. All right. Now, you must remember when Donald Trump claimed his campaign was being...
All right, there's this weird thing where he, when he's reading a teleprompter, that, I guess angry sarcasm, yelling character is the thing that he does, where there's supposed to be a kind of almost Shatner-esque read that he thinks is funny or charming. And the weird part about it is that the sort of dopey, more energetic than he actually is character that he does while he's reading the teleprompter is and this might shock you, is even a bigger dick than he is. And so during it, he will shit on the panel guests in surprisingly cruel ways, especially if they're women. And I don't know if we'll see any of that in this, but this is just to get you kind of prepared for the little angry man shtick that he's doing.
Spied on, and the mainstream media called him crazy. Well, much like most things today, Trump ends up calling it correctly.
You mean like the stock market crashing as soon as Biden gets into office, and nobody being able to pass a infrastructure bill in this environment, and if Biden gets in, the whole economy will go to shit, and you mean that part?
It's like a white,
or that no matter what happens, we would all get vaccinated by military people in the parking lots of Walmarts.
Version of Miss Cleo. Don't remember her, huh? All right.
Jesus Christ. Look, when you need a graphic for the joke.
Of Miss Cleo.
Hold on. What? Oh, hold on. He's the something.
Was being spied on, and the mainstream media called him crazy. Well, much like most things today, Trump ends up calling it correctly. He's like a white version of Miss Cleo.
Orange. The joke is he's like an orange version of Miss Cleo. Which also doesn't work. Never mind.
Oh. Don't remember her, huh? R.I.P. Now, a new report from Michael Schellenberger, Matt Taibbi.
Yep, there it is. CIA. Public. It's from the newspaper Public something public thing. CIA had foreign allies spy on Trump team, triggering Russia collusion hoax. Sources say Tuesday.
And Alex Gutentag at Public backs up Trump's assertion. They say the U.S. intelligence community, quote, illegally mobilized foreign intelligence agencies to target Trump advisors long before the summer of 2016.
Yeah, but they failed, obviously, because he only hired patriots who want to make America great again, and you can't corner somebody like that. This is a good question. Chat room, real quick. Let's say you were you were working for a candidate, or you were going to be in the even like a high up at the campaign, or you were in the campaign and you wanted to eventually, you were like an advisor with the goal of working inside the cabinet itself or having some sort of position given to you. And you're out and about, and some Russian folks start playing footsie with you to try to sucker you into stuff you know is illegal and would be damaging to your candidate before they've been elected. Again, in hindsight, when your candidate has been elected and was in office, there's this kind of inevitability idea, which at the time didn't exist. And the inevitability looked like he was going to lose to Hillary because he was an inserious candidate, but the people around him were like, maybe I can make some financial and real estate deals overseas for this asshole. He's not going to be president, but he might give me a piece of the scratch. So they had more of a reason to go hunting for job opportunities than they did to actually act as, foreign advisors and go out into the world as representatives of the campaign. How many of you would actually, like, if you were working for a candidate you actually gave a shit about, and let's just presume that you love your country, and people came up to you and went, if you look the other way when we do this shit, we can, we'll guarantee you get into the White House, and maybe if you play your cards right, your opponent will fall out a window. Would you say yes? In all seriousness, no sarcasm, no nothing, for real. Now, if you would, do you think everybody else in your organization would? Probably not, if they actually gave a shit. But in Trump world, 28 of these motherfuckers were in contact, not just with like Russian, like connected people in corrupt areas of the world, but like that you might have to talk to bad people because you have to deal with world affairs, but like just the criminal class of all these fucking places.
Yes.
Yes.
This was before the election. The government and foreign powers actually spied on Trump along with others in his campaign in order
proof
to keep him from running and you from voting.
Well, why didn't they?
Making them lower than Joe.
Why would they do that? Why would the report about that and all that shit come out afterwards? And why would, if they were working with Hillary Clinton, why would she not release that report.
Joe Biden's scrotum on a hot day. Allegedly, the U.S. asked the other members of the Five Eyes, love their burgers. These are intel agencies from the U.S., Britain.
That's a Five Guys reference that's so dumb. I think most of his crowd is laughing at his attempt.
Canada, Australia, New Zealand to spy on Trump. In other words, that global criminal enterprise known as the Democrats first decided Russian collusion was true, then had their comrades look for evidence.
Which, of course, they didn't find any because George Papadopoulos, even though he knew of some criminality, kept his fucking mouth shut and didn't blab that the Russians were going to help him to the Australian diplomat. And oh, right.
If true, our spies illegally surveilled United States citizens for political reasons.
Right. So what do you think the chances are that that's true? Because Schellenberger and Taibbi say it is, when you've seen no evidence other than your own bias that Trump should, his asshole should be your spray tan machine. Besides that, what's your evidence?
But why, you ask? Well, Trump was the first real anti-establishment candidate to have a chance at becoming president, and the establishment wouldn't have it.
Well, he did. It didn't make any difference. And all this stuff largely came after that, came out after he used these connections to try and get elected.
So they committed to taking him out. And when he rightly suspected it, he and his supporters were mocked mercilessly.
Oh, the whole, because that dude was, by the way, when he says they spied on my campaign, literally the point he's trying to make is the dude who found out that there were Russian phones floating around during the transition in the White House because this guy was doing a scan to kind of sell this product to the government.
Accused of anything and everything. And then as a deflection, they used the P tape, which never existed.
Used it to what?
Yet the media lapped it up like Joe over a fresh bowl of cream rinse. Now,
what?
According to this new report, Intel
lapped it up like over a fresh bowl of cream rinse.
Related to this alleged surveillance.
Honest to God, I don't know where he was going with that. That he eats Brill cream or that he eats hair conditioner or what the fuck that's supposed to mean.
Of the Trump campaign is in a 10-inch binder that Trump ordered declassified.
Ooh, a 10-inch binder. Look at that.
Classified at the end of his term.
He ordered it declassified at the end of his term. And then all of his people went, if we declassify this, people are going to find out what they do know about us, and went, fuck that.
Well, he says 10 inches, but it's probably more like 6. But apparently the whereabouts of the binder are unknown. So where?
Yeah, the binder that actually exists.
Where could it be? Maybe it's in the garage with Joe's Corvette, next to the hooker that Hunter dismembered. Maybe it's under a pile of...
Jesus Christ. I guess you're going to skip past the whole thing about the dude who was caught lying about the bribe. You're just not going to bring that up in this whole segment?
Coke in the West Wing. Or somewhere no one would ever look under Jerry Nadler's extra lapskin. And so they can hate Trump all they want, but he's protected by the same laws as everybody else. The United States Constitution doesn't close out with, this is all true unless we don't like you.
Right, but also you don't get to just engage in international criminality and get away with it because you're a second-generation rich asshole from New York who bankrupted a casino and yet still convinced fuckheads like this that you're a master businessman. Trump steaks, Trump water, Trump University, Trump video phones. And, and by the way, that you're a traditional conservative even after years of having multiple abortions paid for by friends so the money doesn't come back to you because it might fuck up your prenup with one of your 3 wives.
You wanted proof of a deep state. The deep state just served it up.
No, they didn't. There's no proof of this. This is just, honest to God, this whole article might as well just be Schellenberger and Matt Taibbi yelling deep state. That's what this is.
And you might want to re-examine your own hate for Trump.
Why? Hey, asshole. See this whole giant screen next to you? I don't need to see another fucking picture of this dude as long as I fucking live. I don't ever need to see him again. But you know what you could fill that screen with? any evidence whatsoever that this binder exists, that it can be tracked to something, and that it is what you say it is.
Because likely it's also based on a hoax served directly to you by the same. And again,
how do you not get a laugh while swearing?
Trump called.
Yeah, like a couple of titters about that, but good Lord.
It while others played dumb. Or maybe they aren't playing. Here's a golden oldie from our favorite Lemon.
Maybe the biggest lie of all. Repeatedly, and with no facts to back him up, making the outrageous claim that the so-called deep state spied on his campaign. He did it again today.
But I hope it's not true, but it looks like it is.
It's not true. It's a lie.
Wow, that guy's really good. What time is his show on? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. He's currently wiping down the sneeze guard at a Yonkers Sizzler. Love that guy. I miss him. Anything more to add, Don?
All right. Well, we'll wait.
Is this not just an angry president popping off?
Also, by the way, you know, I like the Yonkers sneeze guard. It's a reach, but I see where you're going. The idea that he's no longer employed there, so therefore he must be a failed nobody. You know, like the rest of the plebes in the world who don't have a TV show. You know, fuck those people. Right, Greg? You know, you're a good old-fashioned man of the people American. Anybody who there's people who have TV shows and nobodies, right? Okay, it's a great gag if you can make it. Meanwhile, while the Yonkers joke is predictable and shitty and boring and what have you, and what's the word? Hack. You could follow it up with a piece of evidence. You could follow it up with a quote from the Taibbi Schellenberger article that slams this whole thing home, that brings it, that goes, look at this. They know this part. This is from, you know, multiple sources say this, but you don't. You have to spackle it shut with bullshit and sarcasm because there's no there.
This is not just an angry president popping off. This is a deliberate and coordinated effort to save his presidency, to cast doubt on the Russia investigation by repeating a lie. And that repetition is a key part of the strategy.
True, by the way. No lies detected there, Don.
Here. Because if you hear him say the same thing over and over and over, it gets into your head. You may even start to wonder if there's some truth to it.
Well, that aged as well as Nancy Pelosi's stem cells. And it wasn't just the media did.
Okay, good. Ageism on that regard. Can we? Shall I just? Do you want me to bring up pictures? I don't even want to look at them of Trump looking like shit.
Denying it. Former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper said the same thing.
Did the intelligence community spy on President Trump and his campaign?
No, we did not.
How is this hairless tree sloth not in jail? We've imprisoned.
I don't know. You have the evidence. Show it. He just said that, and you're like, boom, blow it the fuck up, gut. Come on, man. I do it all the time. It doesn't even take me that long. When I need to back something up that I'm talking about, I just go find the article or find the indictment or any of the evidence that I have about it and just pop it right on the fucking screen. And I don't even have a staff that throws this shit on the screen for me. You lazy fuck.
Protesters for taking selfies at the Capitol while this guy lied under oath and also tried to subvert an election.
No, he didn't. And nobody was arrested for taking a selfie at the Capitol. As a matter of fact, the people who went in there and just did this like minor stuff, all of them got a pass. 3,000 to 5,000 people went through the Capitol that day. Only about 1,500 of them are going to see any jail time because they committed acts of violence and specifically there. But everybody else who went in there and just took a selfie stepped over drops of blood left by the cops that were pushed out of the way or the people who were assaulted as they got through, even when it was their own fucking people.
Obama.
There are plenty of maggots who left the Capitol that day who've never faced charges, who have Ashley Babbitt's fucking blood on their shoes, who have probably saliva or vomit from Roseanne Boylan.
Was asked about the spying allegations too.
The allegations are so absurd that even Republican-controlled committees, looking into it, have dismissed them. And
they have. That's the point. That's as we just saw in the other Sullenberger article. That's his complaint, is that these people who should know about this don't seem to know about this thing I've been told about by people who have a dog in this fight and are trying to get Trump back in office.
Attorney General Barr has dismissed them. You do not allow the politicization of the criminal justice system, the intelligence system, the military, right? That is stuff.
Yeah, including not charging someone.
That you keep out of politics.
Oh, really? I would say that Obama should be eating crow, but we know he prefers dog.
What the fuck? Is that like a Kenya reference? Like Africans eat dogs? Is that where he's going?
Do I have to explain to you that?
Yes, you fucking well have to explain. Nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about.
He once ate a dog. I'm going to my grave making sure everybody knows that Obama ate a dog. It's in his book. So
ate dog in a country.
Where's the media and
when he was a child?
Dems on this story now. Have they learned their lesson? Sorry, if they were capable of learning from their mistakes, they wouldn't be Democrats. But it also must kill them that 3 reporters, Schellenberger, Taibbi, and Gutentag, did all the work that they refused to do.
What work? And by the way, these Republicans control this committee. The complaint Schellenberger had was that they have it. Do you have any of these assholes on your program?
And these reporters don't work for legacy media.
Yes, because they keep getting fired because they can't back their shit up.
Perhaps because they're just too honest and too good.
Or they'll get the organization they're working for fucking sued.
They make everyone else look like the hacks that they are. Now, I'm sure if Trump wins again, those in power...
By the way, nice Benny Hinn hairdo shot of him. Jesus Christ. What is that? Is that a pancake? It's like a... What the fuck is on his head?
Will find another conspiracy to explain it or prevent it. They'll go after the voters like they always do.
Why? They didn't have to go after the voters. Again, even who went after the voters? The Republicans went after voters. They assumed that Democratic votes for Biden were fake and that everybody participated, that people were double voting and dead people were voting and all this stuff. Now, they were at the villages for Donald Trump and people have gone to jail for it. Everybody who's been arrested for voting twice or using somebody else's ballot to vote was a Republican who voted for Trump at least twice.
They're already hunting Trump and his supporters like they're egg rolls under the seat cushions at The View.
What the hell? Can you tie these things to anything?
And if Biden, this sputtering...
everybody does recognize that most of the people in that audience are laughing at how little sense those things make. That they're kind of just non sequiturs.
Desiccated mess somehow wins. Sorry, you have little reason to believe it's legit.
Yeah, if I lose, it's rigged. That's the whole.
Because in America, you're innocent until proven guilty, but that's for you, not the government. Because the government holds the power to deceive, spy, and ruin you. And
okay, first of all, fuckhead, then move, leave. It's one thing to not, to not, be a jingoistic America, warts and all, love this place. But if you believe that that's the shape of your government, you're not safe. You should flee the country and ask for refugee status in Russia at this point.
Also cover it up with a corrupt fake news media. So really, it's up to them to prove that they aren't guilty.
No, it isn't. No, you don't get to use an article full of blather and conjecture written by 3 assholes who are trying to claw their way back to significance on the side of MAGA because they know that's where the subscription base is, and they were supposed to get this lift from Elon Musk, but Taibbi and him had a fucking falling out because Substack was going to run a Twitter killer app or some shit, and they got mad, and then I guess Elon Musk told Taibbi, "You're dead to me," and that was that. So these motherfuckers are having to like just do anything they can to bully their way back into the right-wing media to get people to sign up for their Substack bullshit and pay for their system. So it's all if anybody has a reason to make shit up, it's them.
After all, if they could spy on a president and then lie about it, imagine what they could do to you.
You get the... I don't think it was the energy of the read, but you could tell the clapping started right away, which means it's the end of the monologue, people can see it, and someone's holding up an applause.
After all, if they could spy on a president and then lie about it, imagine what they could do to you. Let's welcome tonight's guest. When this shark bites, you'll need last rites. Shark Tank star Kevin O'Leary.
Little heavy on the foundation, Kev. Also, you'll notice that Gutfeld probably won't make a joke at his expense because he wants to work with him or make money off of him. So far, nothing. Moved right
A
on.
former Miss Florida Citrus, she never has to worry about scurvy. Host of the Morgan Ortega Show on SiriusXM, Morgan Ortega. If he gave a eulogy, even the corpse would walk out. Actor, comedian, and writer Jamie Lissow.
Right-wing comedian, I guess, is the idea, is the theory.
And she's the first author to weigh less than her book. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor, Kat Tipp.
She is teeny, but also you'll notice that he'll shit on her on the regular. I guess because he's not able to hit on her, or if he fails when he does.
Kevin, how you doing?
Great.
It's always good to see you.
I'm happy to be here.
Look at that kissing his ass.
Happy that you're here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel wonderful.
That's good. You should be. Now, let me ask you this. Coming from Canada, and you see how the media pushed this story, and now that the story's no longer there, they don't bother to go and correct it. Are they as bad or worse than...
The story is no longer there. They don't bother to correct it. The story's no longer there.
In the media in Canada.
Well, we're not allowed any media in Canada anymore. You aware of that?
Yes.
Yeah, Justin Trudeau said no more media. So Canadians just walk around in bliss all day long. I'm not kidding. It's getting pretty crazy up there.
Yeah. But they target citizens. They tries to freeze bank accounts. But over here, they pretty much tried to take a president off the ballot.
Yeah, this story is pretty interesting. Obviously, there's so much media attention. I want to make a note of something today that really blew my mind. I was looking at...
Yeah, you're going to avoid talking about this story and you're just going to move on to something else because you know it's bullshit.
Advertising data from last week. That includes unpaid media. So you look at entities that somehow scored stories in unpaid media on all channels. Trump got 80% of the unpaid media. Nobody else got any other time. The guy is sucking dry his competitors from getting near media. He's not paying for that media. So if you're Nikki Haley or Biden, you're saying, wait a minute.
Yeah, but you're coming from an all press is good press situation, and people aren't making a value judgment about it. If you're Coca-Cola, you don't give a rat fuck. By the way, I think a better example. Delta got way more free press, and Boeing with them, than, over the last couple of years than any other airline. Delta for killing a dog, Boeing for a fucking hole blowing out on the Alaska Airlines plane, which, by the way, Alaska Airlines kind of dodged because everybody blamed Boeing. So if you want to talk about, there's certainly a lot of other plane companies out there, but all the free press went to Boeing. How do you compete with that? If you're on the other side of that, you're like, wow, how am I going to get the name of my airplane company out there?
Where's the fair time rule? Everything's Trump all day long, whether you hate him or you love him. That's pretty good marketing.
Yeah, it's his world. We're just living in it, which is exactly what happened in 2016. Everybody gave him time, and then he won. I don't know how it's going to go, Morgan, but I know if he loses, it's going to be rigged. I'm just kidding. Yo, Morgan, what do you think? It's kind of bizarre.
He's not kidding.
How everything that Trump says is going to happen or has happened, it always turns out that he's at least directionally true.
Stock market, wages, unemployment, infrastructure, rescue package.
Yeah, and when he first said...
Did he, by the way, notice how there's these huge gaps in prediction. Never mind the shit he was wrong about. But he didn't make predictions about, like, he's like, if I lose, Russia's going to attack Ukraine. If I lose, Hamas is going to attack Israel. If I like, he never does any of that shit. That's just in this amorphous zone of it, looking backwards. Retrospectively, you know, he can look at the rear view mirror and go, if I was there, it never would have happened. But he didn't predict any of that shit. Meanwhile, you know, it's in the direction that Mexico's paying for the wall, kind of now, right? Is that what we're supposed to believe?
That you think, well, that can't be true. That sounds crazy. And then it turns out to be true. I mean,
no, it doesn't. It's not true. It's a story. We need proof of some sort. It's an extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and there is none. I don't. Again, how many times these motherfuckers are like, all these anonymous sources talking about Trump, and this is all bullshit. You want to know bullshit? If it says anonymous sources, it's fucking bullshit. The minute the anonymous source is on their side, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I mean, this is evidence. We're up to our eyeballs in evidence.
Listen, John Durham, the special counsel, did a 4-year investigation. And
yes, I have it on tape. Basically, it's 3 hours. And that's just the Cliff Notes version.
Which he basically concluded, yeah, this really was a hoax. This was unfounded. The problem is where's the accountability in any of this? I don't recall really anybody, you know, getting fired from the FBI or the CIA or how to.
Yeah, that you would need cause, not conjecture, and you would need evidence. Otherwise, the problem is, A, there were people who got fired, and many of them sued and got their benefits back. Peter Strzok, etc. So for the record, there were people who got fired, and there were people that Trump fired because they were getting too close to him.
Accountable. Instead, they all get cable news contracts. And
you do realize where you are, right?
As somebody who went into the intelligence community after 9/11 because I wanted to serve my country after that happened, it has been so frustrating to see the intelligence community turn into something that's attacking our political process. If you want to talk about attacking democracy, this is attacking democracy.
No, I mean, the idea is that these are allegations that they're attacking democracy, and you can say that, but if you're willing to take those allegations on face value and with no evidence, then you're the one attacking democracy. That's how it works. And if you line up a bunch of, you know, proof points, and you're wrong later, but you're like, this and this and this and this and this and this and this led me to believe this, as opposed to, we just read this story from these assholes, and a bunch of sources who they won't name and can't name say there's a binder no one's ever seen in a vault that nobody knows about, that's either 17, 20, or 50 pages, and it's either a 10-inch binder or 3 binders, or not a binder at all. Think about it. Those are the details you and I have heard about this fucking binder story in the last 72 hours, as they've been talking about since their stories come out, and they've been following this for fuck's sake, right? 17 pages or 20 pages, a binder or 3 binders, 10 inches, and it's there in a vault, or it's not, or Trump has it, and that's why they raided Mar-a-Lago, was to find the binder, which they may have not found. So it's somewhere, but if Trump has it, he still hasn't released it because it exonerates him, because he's waiting for the right moment to exonerate himself. Just like Zlochevsky and his audio tapes of Biden talking to him that he's saving for a rainy day. Motherfucker.
You're politicizing a community that is supposed to be there to protect the homeland.
Mm-hmm, that's right. You know, Jamie, I didn't write this question.
Okay.
Does the CIA spying on Trump remind you of when you would spy on your wife and kids while they were enjoying their very happy new life without you?
Wow. Yeah, I remember once my
again, I think don't respond to his joke as a comedian in that moment. This is the moment where you go, hey, Greg, I notice you've got the guts to joke about me and these two ladies, but you won't joke about the guy in the suit. Are you scared or something like that? Do you owe him money? Do you need his advice? Are you trying to suck up to him so you have a golden parachute? Are they going to fire you, Greg? They're going to fire you, aren't they? Aren't they? Tucker had great numbers and they fired him. I don't know that anybody feels safe. It must be scary. You come into work every day, and no matter how good you think you're doing, you suck. Do that. Do a version of that.
My ex-wife was like, hey, quit spying at me through the window. And I was like, hey, you told me to clean the gutters, and then you locked it.
Lock the gutters? Or lock the window? Told me to clean the gutters and then lock the door, but not the wind. All right. So, okay. He writes for Gutfeld. That's who he is. Now we understand. Obviously, they needed somebody crapped out, and they took one of the writers and put him in the seat, and that's.
I think there should be repercussions. I think someone from the CIA, I think they should get fired. I think if.
For what? What should they get fired for?
If you get fired from the CIA and you're surprised by it, you totally deserve it.
That works. That's a good joke. That's rock solid. There you go. If you're in the intelligence agencies, and you don't see it coming, isn't that your job? And you shouldn't have had the job in the first place. The premise is rock solid. That's good. He was holding on to that for a while. That's the joke he wanted to get to. The other setup joke was just Gutfeld being a dick to his guest and basically putting him in his place.
It's true. Do you know what I mean? Trump he's kind of always right.
Mm-hmm. And kind of, except when he's wrong all the time.
Is it? I wish someone would go, I was wrong, or there should be some. I was impressed.
You mean about Mexico paying for the wall, or the stock market, or the economy crashing after Biden got in immediately, or where the fuck is World War III? I thought we were on the brink like 3 months ago. Hey, Mark, you're in there. How you doing? Hope you're feeling well. Everybody give it up for Mark in the chat room. We hope you're feeling okay. Hello. I had to hear from other people. You were. I don't know which was worse. Which is worse, Iowa or under the knife? We don't know.
By Trump and all of this, especially when you go back, like his clips really do age well. And I was.
Yeah, do they? The one where he said
Michigan gave us Motown, gave us Motown, gave us the Mustang.
That one or
free health care for illegal. Yeah, look.
Those kind of.
I was also impressed that they were spying on 26 associates. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's a popular guy, man. I only have one associate's degree. And think about all the stuff we didn't cover, like Hunter's laptop being.
What laptop?
Deemed Russian misinformation. I mean, we could have learned so much. We never.
What laptop? What laptop? I'm sure you have. Greg, make a joke about this guy having pictures of his family that he took through the window because they kicked him out and they're with somebody else. And make that joke, which is based on his stand-up, which you've heard, but none of us know what the fuck you're talking about. But he writes for the show, so you brought it up just to be an asshole. Bring that up again, and then go, hey, you have all these pictures of your wife and your kids enjoying their life with her new husband, but do you have any pictures of the laptop?
One of my favorite stories. We never found out about cocaine in the White House. I think about it every day.
Yeah, it's a bit. Okay, so you think about it every day because it's a bit that you're still trying to hammer, and people have moved on, and it's boring.
I go, where did and people go, oh, come on, it was Hunter's, and I go, I don't think it was. I think Hunter, it wasn't his because there was some left. Yes.
Yeah, that was the joke. That was that was the tee up.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, no, he's not. He's an addict, but he doesn't use anymore. So apparently, he's the strongest addict in the world. He can carry it around and not use it.
It is true.
Like if you're doing cocaine, the correct dosage is the rest of it.
Yes.
And like you're never doing cocaine, and somebody goes like, "Oh my God, we got way too much." Do you guys have Tupperware or something? Our eyes are bigger than our noses.
Yes. No one ever says I have leftover Coke lying around.
Never.
Yeah, come on over. There's some Coke over there.
Bill, you take it to work. If you leave it here, we're just going to do it all.
Would you like to take some cocaine home with you?
We got way too much.
These are clearly people who live and work in New York.
Kat, has anyone ever spied on you before?
Ew.
If so, you could probably relate to the Don. I remember one moment in which you were spied upon. Do you remember that?
Wait, no. What?
The guy with the drone.
Oh, yeah. But that was, yes. Doesn't that happen to everybody?
You looked out a window. That's a great story.
Yes. Well, yeah, there was like a drone outside my window when I got out of the shower.
There was a guy from downstairs outside in the park with a drone outside her window.
Yeah.
You still have the controller, or did you run away?
Yeah, and it was like, and I put something on, and I was like, oh, it's too late for that.
Yeah.
But, you know.
And they let off Ducey with a slap on the wrist.
Did they catch the guy? Police were looking for a guy with great timing.
Right. Yeah. No. Look, it's whatever.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's so good. I mean, these jokes are whatever. They're whatever.
All right, I'm sorry I brought it up. Anyway.
Yeah, it's fine. It's so painful. No, it's okay. Well, you were all being spied on, probably.
What is? And by the way, what's body language people? Does anybody know what the fuck this weird smile thing is? Let me show you this thing. Watch when he does this. He does this all the time. I don't know what the fuck this is. I'm sure one of these people who do body language stuff could explain what this is. You know, it's kind of like the tongue jut we see from Greg Kelly.
It's so painful. No, it's okay.
This. I'll show you.
Well, you were all being.
That like raised disgust laugh because he's enjoying the fact, I think, that he's laughing about a drone spying on her as she gets out of the shower, and yet he's angry about being disinterested, you know, women being disinterested, or maybe only because he's on Fox, and it's that, you know what I mean? There's a lot of anger in that. Isn't that weird? Am I the only person?
Spied on, probably, and
because it goes away so fast. Did you see this shit? You see what I mean? It's like that. It drops out so it's like this weird, fucked up.
Painful. No, it's okay.
Because that's a genuine laugh. She's uncomfortable. She's trying to laugh it off. She makes a joke. She's trying to move back to whatever referencing she was going to do. She's trying to think of the next bit. Whatever. She's sitting in the middle of this bullshit.
Oh, you were all being.
Look at this. And now watch him drop it. It's so fucking weird.
Spied on, probably.
Look at that. It just like a fucking light switch. It's so like, it's such a like, I don't know. It's like a mask.
In like some sense, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't understand how many times we hear these kinds of stories and people still kind of take the CIA at face value and they're like, we would never.
Yeah.
Because they often do. I even looked at I went back and looked at a lot of the media back when Trump was saying this. It was so much more than Don Lemon. I mean, the Washington Post, really mad at this place.
Yeah.
And saying things like, well, spying's in the eye of the beholder, and it's all these different. And they did actually kind of the reverse, which you're supposed to be curious as a member of the media and just being like, okay, we want to just come out and say this didn't happen. It really, I mean, this is explosive, what's coming out now, but is it?
What's coming out?
Or did it?
No, it's not. Because it's not a thing. It's not. This isn't coming out. The report has not come out. There is no binder. No one has found this binder. This isn't the fucking Pentagon Papers. They don't have it. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about what you're not talking about, which is the FD 1023 report and the guy who faked that getting arrested for lying to the FBI. That's what this is about. The report, Schellenberger and Taibbi and the other reporter put this out effectively as a smoke bomb to cover that story so that it would give Fox and other sites like Newsmax something to talk about. So that they could say, see, Trump was spied on the whole time, so that they don't have to talk about the fact that the guy that was lying about Biden is going to jail. It's a wash. That's the goal. That's the gig. That's what they're paid for.
Really just mostly requires somebody giving enough of to check.
Exactly.
I feel like nobody does anymore.
Nobody gives a crap.
Yeah, nobody cares. Nobody checks anymore, like on a story that makes assertions but has no evidence. It's funny. It's almost like you're talking about yourselves.
Crap. Nobody gives a crap. And you know what the worst defense of the spying that still drives me crazy?
The big words?
If you're doing
You
nothing
used to
wrong,
say that all the time.
I know. I changed my mind.
Okay.
If you do nothing wrong, why should you be worried about spying? And then I realized there are a lot of things I do that technically aren't wrong, but if you ever saw me do it, you would feel really gross.
Why would they feel really gross? They would feel that you were really gross, I suppose, is the idea. This was supposed to be a joke about masturbating, I suppose.
Because I do, and yet I can't stop.
Hey, Sean Hannity.
Right, okay, that's the... Oh, fuck. God damn, that's painful. That's that show. That's the opening monologue and the first round table of guests, and they put that shit out like it's supposed to be programming? Shit. Ouch. Honest to God, like, I don't know how do you crank that shit out? How do you... yeah, I don't get it. It's just ass. Speaking of ass, and I know I'm going a little bit long, but can I show you this? Sorry about this. Prepare yourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a whole lot of awful coming. This is Lou Dobbs. Anarchy and lawlessness, the Biden regime's recipe for destruction at the border. Okay, anarchy and lawlessness. Anarchy is the go-to word, if you'll recall. This is very short, hopefully, mercifully short. And Dobbs apparently is being sued, and everybody thinks it's because he left Fox or Fox fired him, whatever the fuck. Who cares? Anyways, he's working at Mike Pillow's network now.
Joining us now is Republican
Oh dear.
Congresswoman Harriet Hageman of
Harriet. You rang? Did somebody ask for me? Harriet Hageman, at your service. Come on, I'm from Wyoming. Yeah, let's do this. Tell me about it. Here we go. It's terrible what they're doing to Trump.
Wyoming. She has been chosen as the House impeachment manager.
That's right. If anybody can manage an impeachment and not have to care about re-election, it's me.
For the Senate trial of Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas. And Congresswoman, we are delighted to have you.
I am a delight, Lou. I'm just telling you.
With us here on the program, and congratulations on being.
Thank you very much.
The impeachment manager for the House in the Senate trial.
I feel great.
Well, Lou, thank you.
Oh God, I thought you were talking to me. You meant the other. Hey, I see. Okay, either way.
Thank you for having me. And what I'll
Yes, absolutely. And you're right. I do need both.
say is that I am one of 11 managers.
Yeah, it's a very heavy lift. They've cloned us, and so she's Harriet number 1. I'm actually Harriet 10.4 beta. So I'm not actually working on it. I just they have me going to get coffee and stuff like that, so that if the whole thing takes a shit, Trump can say I was always a Democrat. And yeah.
So there will be 11 of us managing the impeachment trial.
That's a lot of managers. That's a lot of management. Is it that hard to manage? Honestly, I mean, how many managers were on the other way? Because I think they were like the Democrats had 3, and they went after the president. This is after a cabinet secretary, so 11, whatever. Anyways, it's not my business. Not my business.
In the Senate, I am honored to have been chosen for that role. I think it's
me too. Absolutely,
it's very important that we hold.
It is very important.
Hold Mr. Mayorkas accountable and responsible for the failures and his illegal acts and his high crimes and misdemeanors.
Oh yeah, all of those things that we don't necessarily have any evidence of, but we'll find it. We'll manage to find it. That's what I like to say. I'm going to manage to find a way to manage that evidence once we manage to dig it up.
And failing to carry out his responsibilities.
That's right. That's the big one. We're going to high crimes, misdemeanors, and failing his responsibilities. And by that, we mean a difference in policy prescription. Because we didn't get elected in office that he did. And Biden put him in, and he's running it like Biden wants to, and we were for the other guy, and that's just treason. Just to call it treason.
Can you imagine?
Oh, sorry. God, I was so scared of my own face that I saw yours and I was like, ooh.
That this man who has lied to you and to the entire United States Congress and the
Yes, I thought he loved me. He bought me this nice turquoise necklace and a couple of gin fizzes. And the next thing you know, I'm counting ceiling tiles.
Senate for 3 years, who has lied to the American people.
As the number of people crossing the border has gone down, yes.
Who has lied to the oversight committees.
By saying he disagrees with us. Yes, disagreements are lies. I agree. Thank you, Lou Dobbs. Finally, someone says it.
Who has lied, I guess, to himself.
You should guess. Just make a guess.
For some time, but could deny.
Hold on. Did you say lied to himself? You can do that? My God. This could change my whole life. Did you just say lie to himself? Lie? Really? Hold on. How do you even get back on this stuff? What is this? Say that again.
For some time, but could deny responsibility for the immense crisis that is at the southern border.
Oh, sorry. I didn't go back far enough. Let me, sorry, one second. Say that again.
Who has lied, I guess, to himself.
How could you, wait, don't say that. Lou, what the fuck are you doing? You know what? I'm here a minute and already you managed to fuck up our whole case. You can't lie to other people if you're lying to yourself. You're just mistaken. Now you've given him a get out of jail free card. If he watches this segment, which I can't imagine he would because nausea, but if he were to listen to this, he's just going to go, I must have been lying to myself. And we're going to go, oh, I guess you might have been. Therefore, you didn't lie to me. You were just mistaken in what you were saying because you believed something else or you didn't believe it and you were trying to make it work somehow and then you externalized it and shit. Thanks, Lou.
For some time, but could deny responsibility for the immense crisis that is at the southern border that Joe Biden chose to turn over to the drug cartels.
Well, I mean, they're a great organization. They do a lot of great things. I mean, they managed to get a lot of very young people to get face tattoos, and that's persuasion.
Well, I think that it is indicative of the Biden administration.
I agree.
In his cabinet overall.
Yes.
They have never taken responsibility for the consequences of the decisions that they've made because they're unwilling to acknowledge or recognize that the decisions that they have made have been so disastrous for our country.
Right, which, technically just means that they have a disagreement about policy and they're not actually lying or engaged in, probably they're just making mistakes that we don't, we perceive as mistakes, even though Title 42 caused most of the problems that we're seeing here. Anyways.
You have referred to this as a couple of times as a border crisis, and
That's true, but it can wait. It's not the kind of crisis we have to deal with right away. Lou, and thank you, Harriet, number 2. I think she's number 2, right? Yeah, I just want to make sure that we have the right one. Goodness me.
I like fighting number 2.
Yes, it is number 2. Thank you. Sometimes I get confused about which one.
PP2.
Yes, she's PP2. So, real quick, where was I? Never mind.
I agree with that. But
oh yes, I agree with you. That's absolutely right.
Last week we were in Arizona. We were in the Tucson sector, and I think that one of the best statements that I've heard from the Border Patrol there was, "This isn't an immigration crisis. This isn't even a border crisis. This is a criminal crisis."
Yes, it's a crisis of criminality. It's criminals crisising across the criminal thing or whatever, because that's the thing. It's the criminal crises. It's a crisis. We're running out of criminals. We used to have a bunch of criminals coming across. Now they've stopped. And then what are we going to do? Stand around here with long guns and our thumb up our ass? It's a waste of fucking time. So.
This is an organized crime crisis. This is about the cartels.
Do we not have I don't know how to read that, though. Is that we don't have enough organized crime? I can't believe that's not the case. In Arizona? Jesus Christ. You ever been to Phoenix? What are you talking about?
Have taken control of our borders, both in terms of illegal immigration and the amount of drugs that are flooding across that border. The cartel.
Yeah, but most of the drugs are water soluble and will break down. So if they're flooding across, maybe we count it lucky because, that's why you can flush cocaine down the toilet and it dissipates. The same thing is true of a lot of drugs. If they're mixed with water, they just kind of lose they get diluted or they're destroyed in the process, or especially if it's not, water's dirty.
Are in control. Our border patrol isn't. Our sheriffs aren't. The Department of Homeland Security is not. The cartels control the southern border and to a certain extent even the northern border.
Oh yes, those are the worst. The Canadian cartels. Oh God, Hoser 16. Yeah, Hoser 16 is one of the worst. And CA 13 is the other gang. They're terrible. And they're sneaking across sausages and poutine and Tim Hortons coffee, which I think should be a controlled substance because when I drink it, I can't control anything. I have a rhinestone purse that says coffee makes me poop.
Because of the failures and the violation of law that
in Canada
that you've seen from Mayorkas and Biden
and Trudeau and whoever runs Mexico. I forgot at this point. Who knows? The cartels, I suppose. Although that's not a failure, it's success on their part, and maybe Trudeau's as well. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
And to that degree, why is it that there are 3 Republicans who chose to vote against impeachment of this man? Who is, by every measure, lower than a snake's belly. I mean,
isn't the earth lower than a snake's belly, though, Lou? And I think that's the question we have to ask ourselves is, why do you hate the ground you walk on?
He is a low-life, anti-American, working in the employ of the United States government.
Wow, that's a weird job to take if you don't like the place. If you want to, yeah, I guess so. He's probably a. I would say he's a Manchurian candidate. He's more like a General Tso's candidate. You know what I mean?
And yet
he's like a P.F. Chang's candidate. Sorry, made myself laugh.
Here it is, 3 years later, and you finally impeached him.
Finally, right as things are improving, and Republicans didn't sign on to the border bill. I know, it seems weird, Lou, but it isn't. Trust me, it isn't.
Lou, I think you're going to have to ask those 3 gentlemen as to why they made the decisions that they did. And
yeah, because they won't talk to us. They won't talk to any of the Harriets. Not a one. And don't think I don't call at all hours. One of them, I stood outside of his house on his goddamn lawn with a semaphore, with an Aldous lamp, just flicking away, flicker. Mm-hmm.
I think all 3 of them would give you slightly different answers.
Well, that's how English works. I will agree with that. Yes. Yeah, a lot of people, it's very, it'd be, well, the weird thing is if they all said exactly the same thing in exactly the same way with exactly the same words. I would actually be more worried if that happened.
What I can tell you is that I voted to impeach Mayorkas because I have now made 3 trips to the border.
Did any of them involve peyote?
I've seen the disaster that he has created down there.
Yeah, but the sheriffs and the Customs and Border Patrol don't do any of that. It's just the disaster in general.
I've seen what he's done to our inner cities in New York, Chicago, Los Angeles.
So you went, when we went to the border, when you were on your phone, were you watching videos of other cities while we were at the border?
I've seen what he's done to our communities and our schools. And it all comes back to the fact that he absolutely refuses to acknowledge that Congress makes the law and he has to carry out the law as written.
Yeah, but under the direction of the president. Never mind. I'm sorry. I started thinking logically for a second. Anyway, I forgot. We're from Wyoming, where there are fewer people than a suburb of Cleveland.
Repeatedly said that this is one of the most bizarre administrations that I've ever seen.
It's wacky. It's crazy. It's like the Wizard of Oz at Woodstock meets Frank Zappa.
Because it's anarchy. And
well, okay. I was going to say that. You could say anarchy as well.
Usually when you think about anarchy,
I do. I get aroused. Should I have not said that? I probably shouldn't have said that. Sorry. Continue.
Think about people at the bottom attempting to overthrow the government.
No, I don't actually. It's really like a lot of leather cuffs and t-shirts from Hot Topic.
It's the people at the top who are attempting to overthrow our government.
They're trying to overthrow themselves. That should be easy. That's why if you put your ear up against the door of the Oval Office or put a glass up against it, you put your ear up against it, all you'll hear all day long is, "Hey Joe, why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself?" It's not a joke. Like that.
It is Biden and his cabinet and people like Mayorkas and some of the other people that.
Wait, people like Mayorkas? They do? I don't like him. You don't like him. I find that hard to believe.
That are supposed to be serving us. They are truly.
They are serving us. It's a cookbook!
At war with the.
To serve Harriet Hagman. You're going to need a bigger barbecue.
American people. They are attempting to overthrow the American government.
Which should be easy since they're in charge of it right now. And I'm sure there's like a button they could push and that would just do it. If they wanted to just do it, why don't they just do it?
And it is one of the most bizarre things, and I think it's why it's taken people so long to kind of get their arms around how.
I'm just shocked it's taken them this long to overthrow the government that they're running, because it's right there. It's right there. It's like if you're breaking into a museum, and you slide down on the wire and you're sweaty and there's the heat sensitive floor and you're worried about sweating on it or whatever, and the secret, the device is there, the scroll that leads you to the riches and all that stuff is right there, and you got it in your hands and you're like, think I'll just hang out and sweat. Think I'll just hang out, hanging here, sweating and steaming.
How did this even happen? How did we get here?
That's what I ask all the time. I wake up. Literally, that is the first thought that comes into my mind every day.
Because you don't think of it that way. But truly, when
not at all.
You look at the law and you read those books and you read the Code of Federal Regulations and you read the statutes, and it says this is what you must do and this is what you
You lost me at when you read. I'm sorry.
Shall do, and this is what you can't do. And you look at that and say, you know what? I'm the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. I'm not going to do any of it.
That's right. And you go, sister, nuh-uh. I'm all that and a bag of chips.
What that is it's a form of anarchy. It is a lawless.
It is. It's an organized. It's bureaucratic anarchy. That's what I call it. It's these pencil-pushing, regulation-loving anarchists. It's really bizarre. It's like the weirdest group of anarchists I've ever seen. They've got this thing about like just they're the only anarchists I've ever seen that write things in triplicate.
That our country has never previously experienced.
No, it's a brand new kind of, organized anarchy is the worst.
When you're talking about people at the cabinet level and the president just simply saying, we're going to violate the law, and that's the way that it is.
I didn't know we were talking about the Trump organization and their administration. I didn't realize that. I was not prepared for that. If I could at any, I'm sorry. Goodbye. That was Harriet Hagman, ladies and gentlemen. It's funny. That's a filter I put on myself, and still it makes my face hurt. I don't know why. Just because I'm constantly, even though it does it for me, I'm kind of doing this anyways. And so my cheeks are cramping right now. It's good. I just need some potassium. I'll be fine. I should always eat half a banana before every show. It's a good idea. Thanks for sticking around. I know I went a little bit late. I love you guys. Appreciate it. Tomorrow morning, radio show. Phil Bittner will be joining us, as will our dear friend Boston Brian, who has a new video out. So go out and check his shit out, where he says Admiral Asshole, which it tickled my fancy. I thought it was very funny. That phrase, Admiral Asshole. And I feel like I need to give him Admiral
Asshole.
as a, like try to find a way. I'll get you that stinger. We'll get that to him so he can just, Admiral
asshole.
Right. I think it'll work. So tomorrow he'll be on the show for a little bit because Phil can't be there for the whole time, I think. And then next Friday, Flappers, patreon.com/HalSparks. If you become a patron, you can see the show for free. And then regular shows next week, except for possibly Wednesday, which is a travel day for a lot of other reasons. And then 2 weeks from Monday, mark it on your calendar, March 4th, I believe it is. I'll be telling you guys about shows. We're going to announce all the dates that we have so far for Sexy Liberal. So we may be coming to your town, and if we're not coming to your town, I'm probably coming to your town with either by myself or with Nerd Halen, where we will be in the week after that, the Saturday after the 4th, the 8th or whatever it is. We're going to be take it back. It's the 2nd. 2 weeks from tomorrow, I will be in Dallas with the lovely folks there doing some Nerd Halening in that area. And I think our dear friend Texas Paul is going to be joining me. And maybe I can have him live on the radio when I do it, although I do it from my hotel room. And I don't know how comfortable Texas Paul will be being with me in a hotel room, because, I'm a bit of a tractor beam, and neither of us are gay, but it's just, I just have that effect. I have to close my drapes whenever I stay there. But anyways, that's coming up too. Love you guys. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. And I will see you tomorrow if the kidney doesn't get us first. Fingers crossed. Hit that like on your way out if I deserved it, and only if I deserved it. Let me know you like the show by hitting that like or a thumbs up, and if you're on Facebook, please give me an angry emoji on your way out the door, like that. Those moving emojis that you can do. Add that to your Instagram. Love you guys as well. I only get to see the stuff on Instagram after the show, the comments, so leave a comment, let me know you saw it, and all that stuff, and I love you guys, and we'll see you later. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm leaving.